Thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. Today's topic is Salute to American Black Veterans. Still minimized. Again, today's topic Salute to American Black Veterans. Still minimized. So, in the logical analysis, which this system can't stand, it can't stand personnel using logical analysis, but only non-constructive emotional responses. See, supremacist is the most awesome mental manipulation force that has ever existed. And the thing about it, they understand that unfortunately, as I've been relating this over many times, that the American Black culture only has about half a generation to about half a generation to one generation left before the overall complete destruction of the American Black culture. Because unfortunately, there's too many internal problems. Too many people from various parts of predominant-based culture, certain various parts of Hispanic culture, certain various parts of personnel from the Asian culture, certain parts of various parts of immigration culture, and certainly various parts of border breaking illegal immigration personnel, and additionally certain parts of a term lifestyle category that want to bypass and are bypassing on various avenues American blacks. And relating to this topic of an American black veterans, men and women, this system is so brilliant that they understand that quite a number of other cultures and backgrounds, tribes, ethnic backgrounds, et cetera, have no clue about the greatness of the American black man and black woman veteran in this country. And especially I'm relating to the historical powerhouse of historical black veterans, right? And the number of American black men and black women veterans that stand upon those shoulders of those historical black men and black women veterans, some that are still alive right now from those older type of generational wars on that. And the thing about in this system of supremacy, the most awesome mental manipulation force that has ever existed, they have personnel that would be like, Why are you talking about only the American black veterans? What about that? Is me when I'm starting to, when they think that nonsensical part is going to be entertained within my mindset. I have 0.0% patience for little silly, disgusting mental trickery tactics. Because the thing about this system understands that when you try to, especially American black men or American black woman, but specifically, but especially American black man, if he tries to relay over information in this system, right, that's constructive, that's informational thinking, right, that's not about negativity, criminality, things like that, but logical analysis and things like that, they do not like that. This is any type of American black male in the system, because they say, well, it's not too many in the first place. They don't like that, right? Because what they'll do is also utilize other different personnel from different other cultures and backgrounds, certain parts of alternative lifestyle categories, certain parts of immigration groups, various parts of border breaking immigration groups, et cetera, et cetera. They use them all against the American black man, black woman overall. Because you start speaking reality, this also they start to do.
Sorry, Kevin Bacon wasn't in Footloose. What? Of course he was. No, he wasn't. You lose. Of course he was. He was the star. Nope, you're wrong. Look it up. I don't have to look it up. It's common knowledge. He was on the cover of People magazine when the movie. Everyone knows Kevin Bacon was a star in Footloose. It was a huge movie. He was the lead. No.
Yeah, see, it's funny, but it's really not funny, right? Because he just like the American black man, black American black veteran, and American black woman veteran. There is no comparison to the historical atrocities that the historical American black man, black woman veteran has had to go through, especially the American black man. Because if you ask this question, what other male beside ones within Padana based culture, right? Because they are the main personnel within the Padana based culture, those males, right? So, which other male next to them has served in a service with more distinction, with more achievements, with more sacrifices, right, than American black male? Well, what about the Hispanic male? Well, and the Asian male and the Native American males? Here we go again. I'm doing this. Because again, I'm not going to even listen to a piece of disgusting mental trickery tactics. Because when you start talking about, well, what about the Hispanic male? What about them? How many numbers of Hispanic males were trying to pass as certain ones within the Padamese culture? Second of all, there would have not been that many Hispanic personnel in this culture. And I'm just utilizing this is utilizing a time frame, the American Revolutionary War. There would have not been a lot of Hispanic personnel in this country, first of all. Second of all, there surely would have not been a lot of Asian personnel in this country. Third of all, there surely would have not been a lot of Native Americans, especially and serving in the service like that. Because the only three largest cultures in America in American Revolutionary War in the 1700s was what you would call whites, blacks, and what we call Native Americans. Conversation is done after that. It's done. See, again, this system, they understand. Yes, they understand this. What's coming soon is what I am saying. Unfortunately, the American black culture only has half a generation to one generation left before the overall complete destruction of the American black culture. And the system knows this. Let me read you something from a book called Propaganda. This book was written almost four generations ago in the latter parts of 1920s, which means about four generations ago, which means almost 100 years ago, which means that this would have still been before an overall amount of what we call Asians, which is a very generic terminology. Because then you ask the question, which Asians? Because what you call Asians, most Asians weren't even thought about in the latter parts of 1920s. When you say Hispanics, again, most Hispanics weren't even thought of in the latter parts of the 1920s. And what about you say Native Americans? What part you're not understanding on this? Even where you say Native American personnel, again, Native American personnel wouldn't even be thought of in a way relating to being veterans in the service of any comparison to Black men and Black women, but obviously more Black men veterans. So again, I don't play that kind of nonsensical game. See, again, simple question. What other culture of male veterans has served in a service by demographical numbers in wars and conflicts more than the American black male. There is none. And even present moment in 2022, today being Veterans Day, next to the male within a Padambe's culture, the second largest male veteran in the country of America. Let me repeat this. The second largest male in the country of America, next to males within the Padambe's culture, is the American black male veteran. Is the second largest veteran demographics in American culture. Not Hispanics, males, which again is very broad. When you say Hispanics, which Hispanics? When you say Asians, again, which Asians? Native American males, which Native American males? See, I'm very hip to the game of mental trickery tactics on that. Right? But going back to, because it's a very essential understanding of this, the game plan, the mental trickery tactics, the word switchery to the masses. In a book called Propaganda, that was written again almost 100 years ago, before many cultures even existed in America, let alone the few that was over here were in inconsequential numbers overall, and they were scattered different places anyway. And many of them wasn't even in the country of America. And again, personally, like Native Americans were already still sticking among their own culture and tribes anyway, and would have not been in the service of any consequential number more than black males. Period. In the first chapter, or the first few sentences in the book called Propaganda, I'm just going to read you a few sentences on the chapter 1 called Organizing Chaos. The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in a democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed, our minds are molded, our tastes formed, our ideals suggested, largely by men and women we have never heard of. This is logical result of the way in which our democratic society is organized. That's powerful. Think about that first sentence. The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in a democratic society. See, the system, again, this is what they do when numbers of American black men and black women don't know what the games are. Yes, because again, when you try to relay information over and think in logical analysis, not emotional turmoil responses, right? Not unconstructive opinions, but logical analysis. This is what they do.
Sorry, Kevin Bacon wasn't in Footloose. What? Of course he was. No, he wasn't. You lose. Of course he was. He was the star. Nope, you're wrong. Look it up. I don't have to look it up. It's common knowledge. He was on the cover of People magazine when the movie. Everyone knows Kevin Bacon was the star of Footloose. It was a huge movie. He was the lead.
This is what they do. Because you try to lay information over when they know that you know the information, right? They deflect all over the place. I'm very familiar with that tactic. I'm very familiar with that. And I have no patience at all to listen to any type of nonsense. See, just like in this system as well, right? In this system, again, the American black male veteran, American black woman veteran is minimized. Today being Veterans Day, when I was sitting there observing different things, and I still did not see, just like on July the 4th, every year, for however long time, July the 4th is supposed to be in the 1700s, 1776. July the 4th is supposed to be the formalization that a certain section of males within the predominant culture were telling other different males within another culture across the Atlantic Ocean that the males within the predominant culture wanted to sit there and did not want to feel oppressed by some other males that would look just like males within the predominant culture because they weren't thinking about the egregious and inhumanity of black pain that's going on to the American black man, black woman. And by the way, for the people who do not know, in the American Revolutionary War, there was not more Hispanics because they weren't even thought of like that. And Asians don't even make me laugh on that because they surely weren't thought about. And Native Americans do not make me laugh again. They wouldn't even be even thought about in the service like that. So what other cultures? Oh, well, a term lifestyle category, numbers of males. Go jump into go play with somebody, go play that game with somebody else. Because you have silly people that try to bring some silly stuff up. A term lifestyle category males weren't even thought of in the American Revolutionary War. That's logical analysis. Again, they don't like this system does not like thinking type personnel, right? So again, I ask, what other veteran, male veteran, was in the American Revolutionary War and going forward more than American black male by the demographical numbers up to the present time? Up to the present time. So I'm just utilizing 1777. I'm just utilizing American Revolutionary War right now. But I'm just saying American Revolutionary War through the different conflicts and other wars up until 2022. What other male, beside the males within the predominant culture, because that's logical common sense, what other male beside them would have been in every single war, in every single conflict for the American Revolutionary War by the demographical numbers than black males? No other males in this country. None. Conversation ended. What other women have sit there and sacrificed more in the service and but was segregated and numbers of them were lynched, socially ostracized, could not go to the same colleges as women within the predominant culture, could not sit there and go to any kind of neighborhood they want to go to, right, as women within the predominant culture? What other woman had to go through that and was in the service more than black women? There is none. Conversation ended. That's why, again, salute to the American black veterans that are still minimized. See, especially black males. See, American black male is the most feared. I'm not talking about physical violence. The black male is the most feared because, first of all, there's no American black males. There's no other males within other predominant culture, other males, excuse me, within other cultures, tribes, immigration groups, border break illegal immigration groups, stuff like that, that has been in more cultural pain for generations nonstop than American black male and still is around. Even though unfortunately American black culture only has half a generation to one generation left before the complete overall destruction, that is because too many internal problems, right? And not enough paying attention to the game that's going around. And then unfortunately, too many American black men and black women have allowed people to keep putting them inside the people of color, the disgusting people of color, and the other generic disgusting minority category, right? Because remember that you also have women within the Panamese culture that are also considered minorities. Let me say it again for the people that's a little slow here. You still right now have numbers of women within the Panamese culture who was sitting right next to males within the Padawes culture, right, as they were sitting there lynching black males and numbers of black women, but the number one male that was lynched is black males. And how, and let's go back to that. Let's go back there. What other male, what other male that served in the service more than black males and was still got lynched? So I want you to show me numbers of Hispanic veterans in historical times. Historical doesn't mean a long time ago, but historical times that have been lynched. And even say, for instance, how many were veterans? We'll never really know how many black male veterans were actually been lynched left and right, especially not a long time ago. So show me the numbers of demographics where numbers of Hispanic male veterans were lynched more than black male veterans. That I want you to show me where uh, Asian male veterans, historically too, have been lynched more than black males and black male veterans. Show me where there were what you call Native Americans that were males in the military that still were serving with distinction, bravery, and still how many of them got lynched because there is no such thing. Show me where various males within a term lifestyle category were serving with distinction and bravery and still came back and being discriminated all over against, right? And came back and still, how many of them got lynched? How many numbers of immigrant males came back and served because they can't remember they ain't supposed to serve anyway because they're not legal, right? With a few exceptions. So that's not even a question, but I'll play for that second. How many of immigrant males served with distinction and bravery in the military for centuries? And still, how many of them came back being lynched? Of course, that's not even a conversation. So salute again to the American black man and black woman veteran, this being Veterans Day. Because every July the 4th and every Veterans Day for how many years and generations in this system of supremacy, the most awesome mental manipulation force that has ever existed, they make sure to minimize black male veterans and black woman veterans, but especially black male veterans on that. Because obviously there would be more black male veterans than black women veterans. Now, with that being said, you know, unfortunately, there's just not enough American black women personnel to sit there and relate over to certain women within a predominant culture to stop playing these little silly games or reduce down. Let me make a point. How there are black women in World War II. There are black women in the Korean War. I'm not saying sit there fighting in the bush and things like that's not what I'm talking about. Right now, I'm just saying, in Vietnam or World War II, excuse me. Not gonna go on all that, but just saying women that were this utilized World War II. World War II, 1941, 1945. This again was before many other cultures even was even talked about in the country of America, let alone the very few amount of cultures, immigrants and things like that, border breaking, immigrant personnel wouldn't even be, it would be in such an insignificant number. It's not even worth even conversation. Talking about females right now. And so you got black women that were serving with bravery, right? Things like that in World War II, in the Korean War. I'm just giving an example right now. And then you say Vietnam and still came back home. I don't know the ones that were still already here, but I'm saying say the ones that did go over to different places in Vietnam, or the Korean, Korea, stuff like that. Certain things. I'm just giving an example, and say the ones that came back home and see how many still were still segregated, how many still were racially terrorized, not just by numbers of males within the Panamese culture, but numbers of women within the Panamese culture. Do you see this little disgusting game that keeps happening? Because the thing about, unfortunately, there's not enough American black women that's sitting there observing this devious game by certain numbers of women within the Panamese culture, right? There's a thing called Women's Veterans Day. So a lot of people don't know. There's a thing called Women's Veterans Day. Think about how that sounds. Women's Veterans Day. Which women? It wasn't women within the Panama-based culture. World War II, coming back from overseas, or ones that was here, they got out the service and they still discriminated. They were discriminated against racially by numbers of male within the Panama-based culture. That makes no sense. And certainly there was not women within the Panama-based culture that was sitting there in fear of their lives, right? That they may get lynched by numbers of black males. That makes no sense, right? But how many numbers of women within the Panama-based culture was sitting there right next to males within the Panamese culture and lynched however ungodly number of black males, and however ungodly number of black males that were veterans, right? But I'm saying now that you have Women's Veterans Day. And even now, how many women within the Padang-based culture can't stand black women, let alone they can't stand black men? But I'm just saying you, but how many women, that could be shown very easy, right? However, numbers of women within Padang-based culture, or ones that want to pass like women within Padang-based culture, that show hatred toward the American black man and woman. But I'm saying, but toward American black woman right now. So to think about, if you have side by side comparison, who do you think is gonna have more racial discrimination? A woman within the Padang-based culture who's a veteran, or a woman within a black woman who is a veteran? Who do you still think will get generational still racial racism and black pain comparable? Do you see where I'm coming from? A woman veteran from Padang-based culture, or a black woman? But they got this thing called Women's Veterans Day. You see the insult to that? It's a very insulting thing. So the thing about it is that, let me show you something right quick. Let me show you something. Look at this, colored. Colored was also talking about for black male veterans and black women veterans as well. Not women veterans within the Padang-based culture. Where do you see women from Padang-based culture, veterans, called whatever they were called? I'm just giving an example: white, Caucasian, whatever it is, Caucasian waiting room. Show me where that was at. Let's look at this again. Show me where it said Caucasian on that waiting room, and especially for women. Show me where that was saying Asian women or Asian personnel. Show me where it says Hispanic males or Hispanic person in general. Show where it says Native American males or women colored waiting room, a colored room. Since they also call them people of color as well, minorities, and still getting reparations left and right, which is a different topic in itself. He said, well, but at the same time, well, their sign says Native Americans, stop. Less than 100 years ago. This is 19, this is 2022, 1922. There's still to be more black folks than what we call Native Americans in this country. Stop. There to be more American black male veterans, right? Because 1922, that would have been after World War One still. So after World War One, still up until now, right? Which is about 100 years. I'm just utilizing the point of saying logical analysis. From 1922 to 2022, what other males have been in service more than black male veterans? There is none, besides numbers of male within the Ptolemaic culture. So the thing about it is, this being Veterans Day, and again, salute to the American black males, and black women. And it would be nice if more American black men and black women in general, American black males and American black women in general, too, veterans, would sit there and chastise people from whatever predominant culture and other different culture, and let them know enough of this silly, disgusting game of minimizing the great American black male, black woman achievements in this country, and especially American black man and black woman service to this country. Again, what other male has been in the service more than American black male for generations by demographics? What other veteran, service veteran, has been in the military more than American black male by demographical numbers? None. The American black male veteran, right next to the uh, male within the Ptolemaic culture, the black male veteran has more veterans, has more veteran demographics than any other culture of male, immigrant group, et cetera, et cetera. There is nobody else that comes close. Oh, there, let me phrase that. There, the demographic numbers, nobody has been in service more than black males uh, uh, from the beginning up until present time. There's nobody other culture besides males within the predominant culture has more veterans that have served in the service more than black males. There's no other women that have served with distinction and bravery and still were still treated with racial racism terrorists more than black women. But again, you had this thing called Women's Veterans Day. Golly, what an insult. Because they know numbers of American black men and black American black women don't even realize, haven't even heard about that. Ones that have heard about it still don't even bring it up. What an insulting game. Because again, when you say Women's Veterans Day, you say which women, right? As if women within the predominant culture has had the same discrimination in the service or out the service as American black women. Do you see this game of that? But again, the system is brilliant because they have thrown in American black women into the mix and just say women veterans, and not enough black women veterans not calling this nonsensical crap out. So again, I still will say salute to the American black male veterans, American black women veterans. So the thing about it, you have quite a number of cultures and backgrounds, ethnicities, certain types of terms, lifestyle categories, immigrant groups, border breaking, illegal immigration personnel. They want to be like black males. They're jealous of black males, right? See, there's no illegal immigration male in America. There's no one American black male in a culture that's illegal. However, numbers of border break, excuse me, however numbers of Hispanic personnel are have no legal status or are illegal in the country of America. How many number of Asian personnel who nearly are illegal in this country of America? And then you add in obviously the border breaking legal immigration males and women. See, there is nobody comes close to the historical powerhouse of the American black man and black woman. Because if that person's personnel running to America as fast as possible on planes, in boats, and breaking immigration laws left and right. If they had it going on so well in that person's original country, why are they here? So in closing, I'm going to show you something. Or let me play this thing from the greatness of Dr. John Henry Clark about the black man.
Under proper leadership, proper inspiration, properly equipped, the black man is the greatest human fighting machine God ever created.
Let me play this again.
Under proper leadership, proper inspiration, properly equipped, the black man is the greatest human fighting machine God ever created.
And the system knows that. This is why they weren't trying to sit there and grab up Hispanic males for generations to get into service. This is why they weren't trying to grab up Native American males to get into service. This is why they surely weren't trying to get immigrant males to get into service left and right. Because there's no comparison of the braveness and historical powerhouse of the American black male. And the system knows it. And now you have personnel from different other cultures who know who you are, right? After observing black pain toward American blacks. Now they want to, look around and jump up and down and try to do some protests and stuff like that after black male and black women have already went through the historical pain of blackness. Still going through it now, but I'm seeing the literal hardcore stuff even more. So while these cultures and males and women sat back, enclave themselves in their own little place and stuff like that, observing what black folks are doing, right? Sitting back, pre civil rights movement, stuff like that, post civil rights movement, observing what black folks are going through, and then these little bills get paid and laws get passed, diluting down different things, stuff like that, putting everybody's stuff in there, Civil Rights Act and Voter Rights Act, instead of specifically being for black folks for the historical black pain. You got other people jumping up and down, getting ahead of black folks, utilizing Civil Rights Act, utilizing Voter Rights Act. The nerve of some people doing this kind of stuff is ridiculous. The proverbial riding the coattails of black pain, and it's disgusting. And so those cultures of males and women who know they are, those types of males and immigrant groups and stuff like who know they are, border break and legal immigration males and females who know they are, certain parts of trans lifestyle categories who know they are. There are people who know your little games that y'all playing. Unfortunately, it's not enough. And it's disgusting. The mental trickery games that's been allowed to be played, especially among personnel within the predominant, especially personnel within American black culture, unfortunately, letting this stuff continue to keep going. And that's why I say again, unfortunately, black American black culture only has half a generation to one generation left before the overall complete destruction. Because too many internal problems that people have American blacks overall by the millions have allowed people to put them inside a disgusting generic people of color category, right? And put them inside a minority category. And what's this thing called black, indigenous, and people of color? What is that? Black, indigenous, and people of color. Where is this black, where is this indigenous people of color at being lynched left and right? Where is this indigenous and people of color all along the Civil War? Where is this indigenous and people of color, right, in American Revolutionary world left and right? Where is this indigenous people of color being lynched left and right? Where is this indigenous and people of color, right, being racially monstrositized in housing, right? Racial hatred and housing, right? Where's all these different people of color minorities at? Where are these minorities and people of color at jumping up and down to serve in the Civil War left and right, like American black men were doing. They became veterans, right? Where is this people of color, or this indigenous and people of color Tuskegee Airmen equivalent? Where is this indigenous people of color similar to a Buffalo Soldiers? Where is this indigenous people of color, the 688, the greatest of that women group, the black women? They went to Europe in a male battalion. Where's all this stuff at? Where's all these different indigenous people of color at? You see this disgusting game that's being played too much and allowed by millions of American black men, black women. Let me show this one last thing before I show you truly one last thing.
I think the gods of Africa created it. Once you lose track of your heritage, you lose track of your liberty in this world. The Europeans during the slave trade not only read the African out of history, they colonized history, they colonized information about history, they colonized image, they colonized the image of God. Who told you Christ was white? He was born in that part of the world predominantly occupied by non-European people. So you should not get into the argument about whether he's white. All you have to say, was he a Greek? No. Was he a Roman? No. But these were the only people partially white in the area at the time. If he wasn't a Greek, he wasn't a Roman, he was one of those other people. You're not to argue about the shades of color. So far you're concerned, once you establish he was not a woman, he was not a Greek, your conversation is over.
That's powerful from the great Dr. John Henry Clarke. Now, this is not about those historical powerhouse personnel in that scenario. I'm just relaying this particular powerhouse Black American man, right? Because this is about historical, the powerhouse of the American Black male, Black woman veterans. In actuality, he might have been a veteran himself. I got to double check on that. But Dr. Clarke may have been a veteran himself. Not quite sure, don't remember on that. But either way, so many type of powerful Black male veterans, Black women, but especially Black male veterans, have contributed so much to the society. Contributed so much. Historical powerhouse. For without the American Black male veterans and the Black pain in American Black women, many cultures and backgrounds, and even certain numbers of women within the Padamese culture would not have the opportunities that they have now more if it wasn't for the American Black male veteran and numbers of American Black women veterans. I'm gonna show this one true to last thing on that. So salute to the American Black male, American Black veterans, because you're still being minimized on that. No other culture and background, ethnicity, alternative lifestyle categories, immigrant groups, what we call Native Americans. It's surely not border breaking illegal immigration personnel who have the audacity to break immigration laws and stuff like that and want to skip through lines of people doing things legally, but have the nerve to skip through lines, immigration, want to skip through lines and break immigration laws and sit there and take advantage of different things, right? While an American Black man and Black woman still suffering racial Black pain. And still, there's not even a inkling of enough Black men and Black women to sit there and checkmate this stuff. Oh man, if only the American Black men and Black women would sit there and know how much they come from the historical great powerhouse and achievements, and how much the American Black youth, with their self-esteem, will be in atmospheric right? Instead of sitting there having self-esteem problems because of their black, beautiful skin or handsome skin, if they only knew the power that they come from beautiful blackness, handsome blackness, military bravery of no comparison, historical achievements of no comparison. American black youth could not be sitting there challenged in their mental capacities in any other scenarios. I think just like what was his name, Dr. Amos Wilson, we talk about this the intelligence. I mean the top level intelligence. You know, when a black child's mindset is developed the way it should be developed, right, and to instill the greatness in them. There is no other child that compares to the American black youth when they are on point and being taught. So again, in closing up this show, I thank you uh, to the American black male and black woman veterans on that. And it sure would be nice if more numbers of black males and black women, especially veterans, will start checkmating various types of people, including some scary type of numbers of black political figures, with few exceptions, to let people know the minimizing of black male veterans and numbers of black women veterans is not to be tolerated anymore. Now, again, you're not going to stop it, but at least to reduce it down. So I want to show this last piece, truly last piece on this.
One of the first casualties of the War of Independence was Crispus Attucks, a black merchant seaman killed in the Boston Massacre of 1770. Slaves and free black men fought together in the Continental Army, but after the Revolution, African Americans were largely barred from serving. Some ignored the ban and fought valiantly in the War of 1812. Among the most famous black units of the Civil War was the 54th Massachusetts Regiment, whose heroic assault on Fort Wagner in South Carolina became legendary for the display of bravery against all odds. Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation prompted thousands of freed and escaped slaves to fight in the Union Army and Navy. Their brave efforts helped to defeat slavery and gain the vote for African Americans.
That was just a part of it. And even that last part was supposed to be getting the vote for the American blacks, right? At the Civil War, right? Because after the Civil War in 1865, right, the defeating of the South, right? Defeating of the South by the Union, 1861, 1865, still did not free all American black people that were enslaved. And surely it did not sit there and give voting to all black folks. That was supposed to come a couple of years later in the 15th, in the 15th Amendment of the Constitution, that was supposed to give voting. Think about that, how that sounds. Because the 13th Amendment of the Constitution was supposed to truly free black folks, not the end of the Civil War. The 14th Amendment of the Constitution was supposed to give equality relating to black folk now being citizens. So the 13th Amendment of the Constitution still did, even 1865 too, after the Civil War, that still did not free the black folks, the ones that were enslaved. So, and it surely didn't give voting rights in the 13th Amendment after the Civil War. That was supposed to come in the 14th Amendment relating to after black folks, regardless, were supposed to be citizens in the 14th Amendment. And even at the 14th Amendment, even though now they're supposed to be considered citizens, they still cannot vote like that until the 15th Amendment of the Constitution. Now remember, this also included black male veterans as well, and also numbers of black women as well. And you got the nerve of some people that would say, well, no, the women didn't sit there, they couldn't vote. Go jump into a lake of fire. That's not even the same comparison. That one based upon racial racism. That's between a situation with numbers of males and women within Padam's culture. Stop. It's like the lie about, oh, well, women's suffrage that gave women, right, for the 19th Amendment, I think, of the Constitution, 19th Amendment, 20 Amendment, 19th Amendment, I think it was, that's supposed to give women right to vote, which is still a lie because women, there were still women, especially within the Padam's culture, that were still voting prior to the 19th Amendment Constitution. They just can vote in the overallness, but that lie still can still goes through educational systems, still goes through women empowerment groups, organizations who know they are controlled by various women within the Padam's culture that still maintain that disgusting lie as if the 19th Amendment Constitution around 1920, that is when women got the right to vote, which is a freaking lie because there were still women within the Padam's culture that were still voting prior to that. It just wasn't on the overallness on that. So, like anything else, you got women and numbers of males within Padam's culture who utilize black males and black women to get their agendas passed. But that's a different topic in itself. On that, what they do with males within the I'm not gonna play that freaking game because again, you got males who are not necessarily males within the Padam's culture, but it can pass, but jump into the people of color or jump into the minority status and they jump in and jump out, right? And based upon, unfortunately, what American black folks have been through in the war and out of the war, they benefit off that. So again, just like numbers of women within the Padam's culture who would benefit off black pain left and right and are now considered minorities. So the type of women who was there on the plantations, sitting there and enslaving black women as well, right next to that black male, that black woman sitting there, feeding with with the chest area to babies within the Padam's culture, while that woman within the Padam's culture was sitting there doing her little thing, not doing her motherly, nurturing things. She let the black woman do those things for her. But again, you got numbers of women within the Padam's culture who have sat there and sat there and sat there and got unearned privileges left and right because of what numbers of black women have also went through. And you got numbers of males out there from Padam's culture, know they are, that have such jealousy of black males that they don't want to see black males doing anything constructive. And they get mad if they see a black male doing well or doing things that was earned, but then numbers of males within Padam's culture get jealous of them. And that's why, again, supremacists continue to keep putting more black pain, especially on black males, and it's numbers of black women as well. And so just like you saw on this clip, um, about some of the American black veterans on that. There is nobody comes close to the American black male in service veterancy. There is no other male that comes close to demographics. There's no other male that went through the historical atrocity of racial terrorism as American black males, American black male veterans, and numbers of black, women veterans as well. There's nobody that comes close to that. And you got people that want to be like numbers of American black males and numbers of black women, but they don't want to have the black pain. I want to play that one last time, that last clip.
One of the first casualties of the War of Independence was Crispus Attucks, a black merchant seaman killed in the Boston Massacre of 1770. Slaves and free black men fought together in the Continental Army, but after the Revolution, African Americans were largely barred from serving. Some ignored the ban and fought valiantly in the War of 1812. Among the most famous black units of the Civil War was the 54th Massachusetts Regiment, whose heroic assault on Fort Wagner in South Carolina became legendary for the display of bravery against all odds. Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation prompted thousands of freed and escaped slaves to fight in the Union Army and Navy. Their brave efforts helped to defeat slavery and gain the vote for African Americans. After the war, the Army maintained a number of black units. In the West, they helped preserve order on the lawless frontier. Native Americans called them Buffalo Soldiers. Among their feats in the Spanish-American War, the all-black 10th Cavalry Regiment assaulted San Juan Hill.
Mm, mm, mm. Man, there is no other culture in this country that has a distinction as like an American black man veteran. There's no other male that can compare that went through racial terrorism as American black male veteran. And obviously numbers of American black women veterans as well, American black women as well. But unfortunately, not enough American black men and not enough American black women know enough about history and know enough about the powerful achievements of American black male and women in military to sit there and checkmate people's nonsense. And that includes also numbers of Hispanic personnel, male and women. That includes numbers of what we call Asian males and Asian women. That includes numbers of Native American males and Native American women. That includes also numbers of immigrant personnel who know they are. That includes numbers of personnel within alternative lifestyle categories. You got various people playing these little disgusting little mental trickery tactics. And again, I'm not talking about numbers of good ones, so you can play that game with somebody else. I'm one of those personnel, one of those last personnel that I'm like, I'm not listening to nonsense because I observe right through it and around it. So again, there's no comparison of the American black man as a veteran and as a male when he knows what he's about. And there's no other comparison to an American black woman veteran, an American black woman who knows who she is. I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show.